There's been another rule break, and this time Big Brother isn't taking any shit, but has he took it too far? Big Brother UK episode 11, and they were continuing on with their task. Izaz and Thomas had been up all night guarding the door, and Izaz was fucking raging. Now, I must admit that doing a 12-hour shift isn't always that bad, but it would be that bad if you didn't know that you were going to be doing it and you didn't even get a nap before. So they had been up since Big Brother got them up the day before. So they could have been up for like 24 hours. To be fair, there has been tasks on other Big Brothers where they've had to stay up for 3 solid days. But it doesn't make it any easier. He was obviously shattered and he was obviously raging. So Sarah was called to pick up the newspaper and read it to the house. And I hate to say this because I hated Sarah when she went in. But I actually think that she's a laugh. Like when she was reading out that newspaper, I thought she was quite funny. And the housemates were raging when they found out about that party. Now, you have to take into consideration that that is also part of the task, right? So, like, they're just trying to pass it. However, had it been that they had used some of the budget to have a party, then I'd have been like, alright, this is a fucking joke because you've made them stay up or you haven't helped them with the roadworks or whatever it is, but you can fucking spend your budget money on a party. And I would have went mental. But they didn't do that, so I don't really see what the problem is. And for every single one of them to be like, oh, this is out of order, as if they wouldn't have took the party. Of course they would have. And then the thing that I found funny was when Martha was in the diary room and she's like, oh, did they have Vicky Sponge? And she was raging. Listen, Victoria Sponge is supreme. So it was time for the radio interview with the government and they had to answer the questions honestly. And well, no matter what you think of Nathan or no matter how much you like him or hate him, you cannot say that he did not answer the questions honestly. The more he was speaking, I was like, holy fuck, man. He is really going for it. Right, he was 100% being honest and there's no doubt about it. When they asked Khaled who would least like to see head the house, I was glad he said Lily and he didn't just say Nathan because he did have to answer honestly. But I can't believe that she acted the way she did. Like, what? Like, she runs about the house fucking frantic. That's what he says. Like, they've never seen a side of her that's just calm and been able to problem solve and stuff like that. Like, she's always running about like a Wayne. Of course she fucking wouldn't want her to be the head of the house. That would be an actual nightmare. Any task that you get, you'd obviously just fail straight away. Emma was blunt as fuck when they were talking about why they didn't put an extra guard on the door. And Izaz was obviously raging because he was shattered. But at the same time, the way he was acting compared to Thomas was just like, I mate, it's shit. Like, he gets that this is part of the game, like, kinda get over it, but I feel like he doesn't really want to say that. So they got their final task where they had to milk the cow, churn the butter and make 8 blocks of butter, and they decided to spend the budget on getting an extra 3 workers. Just as well they did, because just as they finished it, the buzzer went off. Now, the fact that the government didn't get to choose their own workers and they put Izaz and Thomas in again, obviously to stir up the drama. But when they got up and they had to make an announcement as to who was going to be doing the jobs and they said Izaz and they started laughing, I thought that was a bit out of order. Because it was like, aye, okay, he was a dick and he was winding people up, but he's been up all night and he's shattered and he's obviously not in a good mood. But the way Emma was like, oh, well, he's already in a bad mood, so it's alright. Like, as if he's already been a dick, so we might as well make it worse for him. And I did think that that was a bit out of order. So Izaz was clearly pissed and he was ranting to Thomas. And he was saying, oh, I'm not going to be being nice anymore. Like, if I've got something to say, I'm just going to be, like, being blunt or just telling people. And I thought, well, if you've got that in you, why weren't you doing it for the start? Lily, Nathan and Rosie were in the back garden. And Lily was, like, trying to kiss the two of them. And I get that you do things like that when you're a teenager, right? But she's 21. And I know that people are going to say, oh, she missed out on her teenage years because of COVID and all that, right? But even still, like, as a 21-year-old in the Big Brother house, are you going to be wanting to try and just kiss everybody in the house? I don't know, like, they weren't even playing spin the bottle or anything. I don't know, it was just a bit weird. But even when you were younger, like, you weren't going about trying to kiss 30-year-olds, do you know what I mean? And also, at the time, I thought to myself, right, she runs about the house literally acting like a 5-year-old. Right, that's me being generous. And now she's like, oh, I want to snog. And I thought, even if you were going to like kiss your friends, you wouldn't be kissing somebody who acted like a child most of the time. And when she was trying to kiss Nathan, I thought, he's not going to kiss her because he's way older than her and he's going to feel like pedo vibes. But then when I looked it up this morning, I seen that he's only 3 years older than her. And I was like, well, that's bizarre. Like, Rosie's like 29 and Nathan's 24. But it's because she just acts so much younger. Do you know what I mean? It would be weird. Like, if he'd have kissed her properly, it would have been creepy. So Rosie kind of started acting weird and more of them came out into the back garden and Marcella was speaking to her and she was like, oh, I'm going to go. Like, it was a bit unlike her because she's always really happy and bubbly. And then Nathan went in to speak to her. But the thing was, everybody's like, what's going on, what's going on, what's up? And you know what it's like sometimes you just don't want to tell people what's up. And sometimes there's literally nothing wrong. But then people keep going, what's up? And you're like, that actually, like, fuck off. So the house was kind of wondering what was going on between Nathan and Rosie. And Nathan was speaking to Lily. And I can't remember who else he was talking to. But he was saying that when they were in the car park, him and Rosie talked about going out on a date, just the two of them. And I was like, what the hell? How come I've not seen this? What's going on? So on the Late and Live show, they were showing you the biggest exclusive they've ever showed you. And they were showing you the fire alarm going off. And Nathan and Rosie speaking outside the house. But before I talk about that, I was circle searching Will's top, as I always do, to see how much it was. Because I don't know how much they get for wardrobe in this show, but people kept complaining about AJ's outfits. And I was like, oh, I think that wardrobe just give them the clothes to wear. And somebody says, no, they're given a budget and they pick their own clothes. I don't know how much their budget is. But a couple of weeks ago, he had on a t-shirt that was like £300. And then, well, the other day he had on a jumper, it was only 70. But this cardigan that he had on, I circle searched, guess how much this cost? I actually found it on 2 websites. One was Farfetched, which I think is just selling it for way overpriced. And the other one was, I think it was the website that actually makes it. So on the Farfetched website, this was £1,000. And on the other website, it was 480. So God knows how much they get to spend on their clothes. If anybody's got the answers, please let me know. Anyway, they were showing you the exclusive, which you've probably seen by now if you didn't watch the Late and Live show. But when they were outside the house, they were in the car park and it was kind of muffled and it was cutting out and stuff. But Rosie had said, when we get out of here, will you take me to a winery, just the two of us? And then Will was like, oh, well, they must be planning on going a weekend away because they don't have wineries in Scotland. And then they're going, oh, she's a classy lady. Anybody else would say, take me to a beer garden. And she wants to go to a winery. Now, I never seen this coming between Rosie and Nathan. And a lot of people in the Late and Live audience were like, oh, I seen it coming. And I was like, how did you see it coming? How? Everybody thought that she fancied Marcello. So by this point, the housemates had found out that they'd won the luxury shopping budget, which they deserved. And they were ordering all these crisp sweets and all that you would. I love crisps, right? I'm all about the crisp life. And Big Brother had says that there'd been another rule break. And I was like, oh my God, who's been talking about nominations now? So they're always saying there's one rule, and that's don't talk about nominations. But there's obviously more than one rule, because they've been told that they're not allowed to send secret messages or write notes or anything. And then when they said about somebody writing on the smoker's door, Martha said, I only wrote Martha. So Big Brother decided to take extreme action and he took all their crisps, juice and like basically all their luxuries away. And I thought to myself, I'm always saying get Big Brother Australia on the phone because that's the kind of thing he would do. But up until now they've actually been breaking the rules about talking about nominations and I don't think that this is as bad, but they've took it to the extreme. Let me know in the comments what you thought of last night's episode and do you think they deserve to have all their luxuries took away? And I'll see you again tonight.